I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. My name is Helen Day, and I have the honor of welcoming families, members of the Board of Education, the Commencement Committee, administrators, faculty, and staff to the graduation ceremony for Old Saybrook High School's class of 2021. We began our high school career slathered in sunscreen and bug spray for a fun-filled, overnight team-building experience at Camp Hazen, like we needed to get to know each other better after spending the last 9 years of school together already. Who could have imagined on that hot, sweaty night in August of 2017 that our true test of resilience and camaraderie would be surviving a year and a half of high school amidst a global pandemic? As freshmen, we stressed about finding Mr. Vautrin's room before the first bell rang, how to carry all our belongings around like Sherpas while cobwebs grew in our lockers, and how to go about studying for midterms and finals. As seniors, we became all too familiar with terms like close contacts, hybrid or distance learning, cohorts, and mass breaks. We learned how to navigate Google Classroom and attend math class from home on a Google Meet. We discovered who was online in quarantine again and worried about whether or not our mics were muted while family members yelled and pets barked in the background. And through all of this were our teachers, who at the flip of a switch had to figure out how to use technology to reach their students and serve as leaders while navigating these uncharted waters. The class of 2021 sincerely appreciates all that you have done to lead us through the storm and guide us safely back to shore. Thank you to all in attendance this evening and to those who could not be here because we were only allowed 4 tickets. We couldn't have made it to this day without your dedicated love and support. Welcome once again to Old Saybrook High School, and I hope you enjoy the ceremony. I will now pass the mic to our principal, Ms. Sheila Riffle, and our associate principal, Mr. Joseph Anastasio.
Ooh, that was a long walk.
Wow, yeah, we're out of shape.
Okay. So we have the honor, I'm going to take this off, it's going to blow off anyway. We have the honor of addressing the class of 2021 at this momentous event. Kind of feel like parents these past 4. Well, I mean, Corinne and Shane were their parents, I guess, for 4 years. So
I guess that makes us the grandparents?
Okay, well, we're going to make this brief, folks, and you're welcome. At the risk of Mr. A falling into a puddle of tears up here in front of you all, we will keep this short, and we feel that throughout the past 4 years, we've collectively given you all of the advice we have straight from our hearts.
So to avoid any unnecessary blubbering and the cry face that happens, That could dangerously be prompted by speaking to you from our hearts yet again. We thought we would borrow the words of others to express our sentiments. So we have compiled our top 10 recognizable movie and TV quotes to share with you.
We also thought it would be fun if after each phrase, you and all of our guests here would shout out the source from which it came, together in harmony, on cue, just like the audience does in Family Feud when they flip over the undisclosed answers. It should be noted that even though these are not original, they're truly sentiments that we feel about you, mixed in with sage advice and wisdom to take with you.
Plus, it's good practice because we don't want to plagiarize.
Correct.
So you'll be our sources.
Yes.
Number 10. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
All right. Number 9. There's no place like OSHS.
They're on it. Carpe diem. Seize the day.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
We have a
Good job.
ringer over here. Come on, class.
Number 7. Nobody puts the class of 2020 in the corner.
Life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Oh, that's too easy.
That was easy.
That was easy.
Just keep swimming.
May the force be with you. No, Empire Strikes Back.
Number 3. I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Nice. Bonus point for you, Emmy Skiles.
I know. We're going to do this together, right?
Yeah, we are.
You complete us. Somebody said Mark McGuire. He had a good batting average, but no, Jerry Maguire.
And finally, amazing Old Saybrook High School class of 2021, our number 1 sentiment to share with you on this special occasion.
We love you
3000.
Avengers Endgame.
Oh my goodness gracious. Congratulations, class of 2021, and thank you so much for making Old Saybrook High School better.
We're going to miss you.
We are.
Who's next?
And now we would like to invite to the microphone our salutatorian, Kyle Wazalowski.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to start off by saying thank you to Ms. Riffle and Mr. A for their kind introduction. It's an honor to speak in front of all of you here today, and I couldn't be more excited. I also couldn't be more nervous. For those of you who remember the 8th grade graduation, you might recall that public speaking isn't exactly my forte. I couldn't even make it through Please Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance without messing it up. But anyways, I'm back again 4 years later, this time with 5 whole minutes to fill with words of gratitude and reflection. While writing this speech, I had to carefully examine my high school experience to pick out what I felt was worthy of sharing. Though I feel like I still have so much to learn, there are many important lessons that I've gained in these last few years. One of these lessons deals with a phrase called delayed gratification, which is essentially the opposite of procrastination. It means that you put aside all immediate desires in order to do something that you don't necessarily enjoy, with the hope and expectation that at some point in the future, it's all worth it. A good work ethic is important, of course, but I noticed that this forward-looking attitude can become quite dangerous if taken to an extreme. Especially during my freshman and sophomore years, I became so fixated on future success that school felt more like a means to an end rather than a fulfilling experience in and of itself, causing me to obsessively complete each assignment I received as meticulously as I could. Then, junior year rolled around, and my approach to school quickly became unsustainable. I faced a decision. I could either burn out or I could loosen up, and the latter option was much more appealing. Though I still put my best foot forward, I've learned where to draw the line. I've drifted away from my fixation on delayed gratification and have instead realized the importance of living in the present, leading me to one of my greatest achievements in high school, which happened during last year's midterms. It was the night before my chemistry exam, and I had just finished a swim meet with Hand High School in Madison. Afterwards, the team decided that they wanted to go out to dinner in Guilford. At first, I didn't even consider going with them. By this point, I was already out much later than I'd anticipated, and I hadn't studied much at all. But as I pulled out of the parking lot, my hand started turning the steering wheel away from the mountain of chemistry notes sitting on my bed, and instead towards my teammates who were heading towards the restaurant. I know this moment seems like an easy choice, but believe me when I say, this was not very characteristic of me. Looking back, I'm quite surprised and grateful that I chose to go out with the team that night. I still remember some of the conversations we had, including a dispute about the physiological benefits of putting salt in drinking water. Oddly enough, a question about a sodium chloride solution appeared on the exam the next day, but that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is that you should always measure the importance of your studies. Ask yourself, what's more valuable, a night out with friends and family, or a few more hours of studying? Sometimes the answer might actually be studying. I'm not encouraging anyone to go out every night. But never become too consumed with your work to lose sight of the other things in life that matter much more than any grade. Now that I've discussed the importance of living in the moment, I thought I could shift gears to an analysis of a 2007 cinematic masterpiece, the Bee Movie. The film opens with the following lines. According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible. First, I'd like to point out that this quote is factually inaccurate. Many scientists have studied the flight of bees, and it's undoubtedly within the limits of physical possibilities. But the principle is still there. Bees defy human doubt, and I'm here to argue that we should all do the same. Throughout my life, I've occasionally made strides against my own doubt by setting some pretty outrageous goals. The types of goals that appear so unrealistic that they would make your middle school focus advisor cringe. I love these lofty aspirations because they are distinctly separate from personal standards and expectations. This means that if you don't ever accomplish them, you wouldn't be too bummed out. But if you do, it feels like you've proven somebody, maybe even yourself, wrong. As this class of students graduates, I hope that everyone sprinkles in a few wild, seemingly unattainable goals into their internalized aspirations. I bet everyone sitting here today is more capable than they might think. We all have the potential to fly against all odds like the ever-impressive bumblebee. I give credit to my parents for instilling this ambition within me, for raising me with the attitude that nothing is out of my reach. With all of the nostalgia that I felt in these last few weeks, I went to look at some old photos the other night from way back when I was still too small to walk. In nearly every single photo, I noticed the pure excitement in my parents' faces, and I realized that this enthusiasm hasn't faded over the years. Thank you, Mom and Dad, and Peter, for supporting me unconditionally for all this time. I couldn't be the person I am today without the values that you've given me. While I'm at it, there's a few other thank yous I need to make. Thank you to the teachers who helped guide my interest, who helped me complete an independent study, an internship, advised a club or team, and of course to the teachers who have taught me so many new things. Thank you to the administration and the guidance office for helping me navigate each year's course load, as well as the college and scholarship application process. And thank you to my peers, the class of 2021. I have known many of you since my earliest days of school, and some of you have been in my memory for as far back as it can go. Whether you've been in this graduating class all along or joined us along the way, our group of people has become like a second family. We've been through a lot together, especially this year, and in the process, we've grown closer and closer. Among these peers, I'd like to give a special shout out to my friends who consistently pull me out of my house and stay on FaceTime with me until 3 a.m. while I make tuna salad and talk about my feelings. Taylor, I know how much you love listening to that. And lastly, within this group of friends is someone who I gladly invite to the stage after I step off. Someone who never fails to impress me with his intellect, and who consistently makes me laugh until my eyes water. our valedictorian, Mr. Joe Bradley. Hold on. Finally, as I'm sure you'll hear many times tonight, congratulations to this amazing class. I've loved growing up with all of you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It is never easy to do something after Kyle Wazlowski does it. Thank you very much for that intro, Kyle. I'm having some deja vu. I might be taller and a little thinner than I was 4 years ago at the 8th grade graduation when I spoke. But the feeling of being in front of you all is the same, and it is my honor to be speaking today. I would like to start off with a few thank yous. I would like to thank our administrators, Ms. Riffle, Mr. A, Ms. Peruccio, and the entire Board of Education for helping us navigate these last 2 years. I would like to thank guidance and also everyone who works in the front office and is always willing to welcome me into the school half awake at questionable times during the day. I would like to thank the custodians for keeping everything clean and sanitized this year. And thank you to my teachers for taking on what has to be one of the most difficult jobs out there this year. And thank you to my fellow students for taking on the second most difficult job. I'm going to give you all a little anecdote, and it's a humbling one. Unfortunately, it's not the who packed your parachute speech all over again, but I'll try to meet that standard. When this happened to me, I swore to never tell anyone. So here I am, about to tell all of you. When I was a freshman, my sister drove me to school at 6:45 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. She had clarinet choir, and I went in to practice my saxophone. I would always go into one of the small, 6 foot by 6 foot practice rooms with music stands and windows into the main band room where the jazz band would rehearse. That morning, like pretty much every morning ever, as many of you know, I had a large Starbucks cold brew with me. I took my cold brew and my saxophone, and I went into that little practice room, carefully avoiding eye contact with any of the intimidating seniors in the jazz band. Once in the practice room, I made a fatal error. I placed my saxophone case on the chair, and with no other obvious surface around, I placed my coffee on the music stand. Well, rather expectedly, seconds after I placed all my trust in a piece of equipment that was designed to hold paper, the stand buckled and the coffee fell. I watched in horror as the cup shattered on impact and 32 fluid ounces of cold brew seeped to every corner of the practice room. It was everywhere. That was freshman Joe Bradley's nightmare. Shocked by pure terror, I entered crisis mode. I had no paper towels or napkins available, so I frantically thought about what to do. Looking back, it amazes me how distraught I was. I felt like Tom Cruise in every Mission Impossible movie, like hanging on to a flying airplane stressed. That's how bad it was. It was life and death to me at the time. I know what senior Joe Bradley would have done. He would have walked solemnly out of the band room, looked Mr. Taylor in the eye, and said, "Mr. Taylor, I messed up bad." Mr. Taylor would laugh and get some paper towels, and knowing Miss Carruthers, she'd probably get involved and think it was hilarious, and tell that story for years. Worst case scenario that day, seniors Kunsong Dorji or Chris Thompson would have laughed at me from the sax section of the jazz band and then would have immediately forgotten about it. Senior year Joe Bradley can laugh at himself when he has no other options. But alas, freshman Joe Bradley could not do that. Back then, I was so afraid to admit to a mistake, to admit that Joe Bradley could be flawed, that I couldn't ask for help. I had to solve it myself. So, I entered full MacGyver mode, and I saw another completely logical solution. I took off the sweatshirt I was wearing, and I started slowly and secretly seeping up all of the coffee from the floor of the practice room. I mean, I was twisting and turning so that every bit of fabric was covered in coffee. I'm not proud of it. The whole time I was thinking, Joe Bradley, you might just pull this off. If anybody had walked to the window of the practice room during this whole ordeal, my soul probably would have left my body. I'm gonna put that out there. I reeked of coffee, I had nervous tears in my eyes, and I had a cold brew soaked sweatshirt. That said, that practice room was cleaner than when I entered it. I was so proud of myself. I had solved a problem by myself, persevered through adversity, proved I was a mature and inventive individual. I think I hit every 21st century skill in the book. Every single one. And the best part, I never once had to admit that I can make mistakes. Even though I could have used its warmth, my cold brew laden sweatshirt was unwearable, so I wore it over my shoulder for the entire day. Shout out to Taylor Stone for being the only one to notice somehow in the middle of English class when she said, "Why does it smell like coffee in here?" When I think about that story, I think it's hilarious and completely ridiculous. I mean, what possessed me? It's so clear to me now how absolutely ludicrous my solution was, but at the time it made so much sense. It was a sacrifice to avoid looking stupid. So, in a way, I feel relieved. I feel relieved that I am not that person anymore. I remember the absolute terror I felt at the thought of being flawed in the eyes of my mentors, and I am happy that now I could accept that with some dignity and sanity. To think how just a little humility could have saved Joe Bradley and Joe Bradley's sweatshirt that day. To think how the ability to own up to the most minor of mistakes, an honest moment of imperfection, would have made me a little bit warmer and a little more mature that day. Because I am not perfect. I am more than happy to admit that now. I am flawed, and as all flawed people must, I have learned to admit it often and laugh at myself. That is what I gained, what I truly gained from high school. Because high school has this illusion. It's supposed to make us individuals. It's supposed to separate us from our parents and our siblings and our peers and allow us to go out there and do everything with little to no help at all. But that's just not the case. High school has taught me how overrated individualism is. True individualism is like flawlessness. You can do your best to pretend, but you're going to ruin a lot of sweatshirts. We all need help constantly. Just like freshman Joe Bradley needed Mr. Taylor and some paper towels. If we can admit that everybody makes mistakes, we can make a lot more funny memories and a lot less stressful, lonely ones. I know now that next time I spill coffee in a practice room or make a mistake that is much, much worse, I will need help. I know now that I can and should be imperfect. I know now what the true meaning of high school was for me. Over these last 4 years, I've gained the skills and the knowledge necessary to make choices, mistakes, and do everything all by myself. But more importantly, I gained the maturity to realize that I don't have to. We're going out there to meet new people, have new experiences, and become ourselves. And we're going to make mistakes. I hope you make mistakes. And I hope you don't feel the need to make them alone. I'm saying my final words to you now, so I'd like it to be some simple Joe Bradley advice. Number 1, mess up. Mess up a lot. Because I have never done anything right the first time, but I wouldn't be Joe Bradley if I didn't come prepared for the second time. Number 2, ask for help. Admitting to your errors is the first step towards fixing them, and that leads me to number 3. Laugh at yourself. Admit that you are flawed. Because they're going to find out eventually, so you might as well let them know on your terms. Number 4, remember that people are good. People want to help you. And number 5, be those people, because there are never too many of them. This next one is something I wrote to myself in our time capsule letters from freshman year that we just read a few days ago, and it proves that freshman Joe Bradley did have a little bit of wisdom to share. Number 6, live every moment like you're not going to get another one like it. This last one is key. Very important. The most important lesson I am equipped to give. If you remember nothing of me, remember this. Number 7. Never place a coffee on a music stand. Thank you all for listening. You're all going to do great things, and it starts today. Congratulations to the class of 2021. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Old Saybrook High School Gold Chorus to sing Green Day's Good Riddance, Time of Your Life.
Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you have the time of your life. And hang it on a shelf for good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dancing on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you have the time of your So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you have the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you have the time of your life.
Good evening, students, teachers, and families.
First, I'd just like to say my name is Matt Rothman, and on behalf of Megan and myself, I'd like to personally thank you all for witnessing the conclusion of our schooling careers at Old Saybrook. Without all of your ongoing support, we could not be where we are today. With that being said, we'd better move on and stay our course. They only gave us 5 minutes.
To the class of 2021, as we sit here today in anticipation to receive our diplomas, we'd like to take a few minutes to recap on the journey we took together, ultimately ending in where we are today.
The first day of school. We were now big enough to ride the bus all on our own. Parents waved us off as they said goodbye to their babies for the first time. And we were met with the smiling faces of our new teachers who would begin to mold our minds into the brilliant people we are today. Those halls were where our journey as peers truly began.
As the years progressed, our days were filled with equal amounts of learning and fun. However, I believe there was something different in the water at Goodwin School. When we were released onto the playground for recess each day, cutthroat battles of foursquare, kickball, and soccer would commence.
I can honestly say the Goodwin soccer games were some of the roughest I've ever played in. And when we were released, and upon entering the school after recess, we would all crowd around the water fountain and eagerly slurp up ice-cold water, only to be interrupted by a heavy fit of breathing.
When winter rolled around, we were all thrilled to see the large obstacle course, nicknamed the Whittle, set up in our gym. You truly can't talk about Goodwin School without mentioning this beast of a course. To those of you who never got to experience it, I'm sorry. You never got to experience the thrill of traversing that beast.
Those were truly the days. And then came middle school, and we were back at the bottom.
Our middle school experience started in a bit of an atypical way. There we were one morning, fourth graders doing what fourth graders do, and all of a sudden, we got to experience our first taste of high school.
As we sat in the auditorium watching Finding Nemo and Ratatouille, no one could quite place our finger on why we were there. Come to think of it, I still don't know. How about you?
Beats me. Anyway, with the beginning of middle school, we are also introduced to the latest and greatest way to control the school population, the passport. 3 signatures on that bad boy meant no Friday free time for you.
I can personally recall a time where I shed tears over my first behavior check on my passport. It was an utterly devastating experience. Yet, all good things come to an end, and soon enough, we got older. And a signature on a piece of paper didn't carry the same weight it once did.
As our formative years at the middle school progressed, we began to experience the joys and freedoms on half days where we would sprint to see who could get to the first tables at restaurants like Jackrabbits, Fiore's, and Sweet Luna's. As 6th grade rolled around, the freedoms continued to advance. We were allowed to try out for sports teams, and Friday nights at the rec began. Not only this, but we were soon given the freedom to hold hands with someone to practice our dancing skills in preparation for the upcoming swing dance. The thought of having to ask someone to the dance was utterly terrifying.
And the intense playground game seemed to stick with our grade for quite a while, as we ended up getting our new favorite pastime, wall ball, banned, as one too many children were sent to the nurse's office for being pelted in the face by a tennis ball thrown with the force of an MLB pitcher. Come to think of it, wall ball wasn't the only thing our class got banned. The relatively lengthy list includes objects such as fidget spinners, silly bands, water bottle flipping, lunch boxes at recess,
as a few of them ended up on the roof from time to time,
and the collapse of our underground pen trading economy that resulted in mass thievery of our favorite writing utensil.
All of which led to the walk of shame into the hallway for class meeting.
As I look back, some of the more notable hallway meetings stand out in my mind. One of which stemmed from a rather entertaining spectacle coming from our favorite class therapy dog named Puddin', using the hallway as her personal latrine, much to the amusement of those lucky enough to witness it. The teachers, on the other hand, did not share in our amusement, and we were instructed to give a grade-wide apology to our favorite canine friend. I'm sorry, Puddin'.
As if this wasn't bad enough, we were once again brought into the hallway for the talk of our lifetime, as the teachers had discovered the bathrooms in utter shambles, not once, but twice. From paper towels on the ground to water on the floor, the damage was widespread. The bathrooms were promptly locked until someone came forward.
The culprit was eventually identified, but we'll have to leave their identity a secret. As we went into 8th grade, the entrepreneurial spirit continued to evolve. We were introduced to a new, delicious drink called G Fuel. The unnamed entrepreneur was stationed out of their locker, and for a price of $2 a scoop, you could transform your water into a highly caffeinated, tropically flavored beverage. Eventually, our supplier was caught and brought into custody. Those of us in the cafeteria on his release day can still hear the thunderous applause and the standing ovation they received as they were tailed by the authorities when walking through the lunch line.
We are clearly ahead of the game on the 21st century learning skill of initiative and entrepreneurship. And thus ended 8th grade, and we are back at the starting line.
We started off high school with the traditional freshman trip to Camp Hazen, which featured the ever-present tension that surrounded trying to sneak out at night.
We even had an unscheduled fire drill, much to the surprise of the local authorities.
And as most freshmen do, we finished last on field day, putting up a weak performance.
But as sophomore year rolled around, we stepped up our game, beating out the junior class for second place.
Sophomore year also brought about a historic moment for the boys soccer team, who brought home their first state title since 1983.
Furthermore, a great opportunity arose for the baseball and softball teams to travel for Disney for spring training, and suddenly they became the most popular sports on campus.
For about a week, I'd say. Well, nothing really happened besides that, at least that I can remember. So moving on to junior year.
The yearly junior DC trip came around, and 7:15 in the morning welcomed the smell of a warm rotisserie chicken on bus 1.
Wait a minute, I don't remember that. Oh yeah, myself and the other boys soccer players were off winning another state championship.
The best part of this trip definitely had to be live streaming the soccer game on the bus, watching our boys bring home that state title.
Ram pride. As we left the building on March 11, 2020, we were all excited for the 2-week coronacation that would soon become our new reality. Soon enough, online learning began, which featured making your own schedule, doing the homework when you want, going to the beach in April. But I have to say, as soon as quarantining was strictly enforced, we all just wanted to be back here.
Senior year came around, something you never think you'll make it to. However, it was fraught with wearing masks, desk shields, social distancing, and waiting the 4 long years for senior privs just for everyone to have them.
How unfair.
Additionally, the pandemic induced the attempt of no fans for sporting events, which didn't go too well when people soon hatched the idea to park their cars along Ingham Hill.
Seems like social distancing really worked over there. Our class was most definitely robbed of several integral traditions that high school seniors experience, from a guaranteed win on field day to a failed senior prank attempt. We lost out on a lot. Nevertheless, we all persevered and made it through one of the most trying times in our lives. And so here we are. We hope you enjoyed your history lesson.
Hi, welcome. I'm Barbara Dimberg, math teacher here at Old Saybrook High School. Actually, I'm not a math teacher. I'm a former math teacher. I retired about 5.5 hours ago. But as I was cleaning out my room, I came across a file with some miscellaneous papers in it. You may know that one of my roles here at Old Saybrook was the official scorekeeper for field day. And in this file, there were some tallies from the last field day that hadn't been recorded. That turned out that you guys were actually the winners of field day. So you are the reigning champions.
Love to hear it.
Great to see that the system is always changed. We hope you enjoyed your history lesson. To conclude, we would like to thank everyone who made this graduation possible. The time and effort that went into the planning of this event has not gone unnoticed by us.
And to the class of 2021, we'd like to thank you for allowing us to speak on your behalf, and we wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors.
Now we would like to introduce Bridget Kowacki.
Good evening, everybody. I think it's safe to say we all know this school year has been very challenging for a variety of reasons, the biggest being the pandemic. Through it all, our school's leaders, teachers, and staff made sure our year was as normal as possible. We are so grateful for all that they have done for us. As a token of our appreciation, the class of 2021 wanted to give back to the school. So we are going to be refurbishing the Old Saybrook High School sign at the entrance of the parking lot. Not the blinking sign where we all hope our names appear for some honor, but the solid brick one. As far as we can tell, this sign has been around since the school was built, since 1967. We will be power washing it, replacing old bricks, and updating the surrounding landscape. It's the first thing you see as you drive into the school, and we know that first impressions are a big deal. Thank you to the entire staff at Old Saybrook High School. Thanks for staying positive and leading us. It's been a great 4 years, and we hope the sign will help you to remember us for years to come. And we would also like to take time to thank our 2 class advisors. Mr. Munoz and Miss Torrey have been awesome throughout these past 4 years. They came in with us as freshmen, and they're leaving with us now. And we would like to thank you guys, especially for this spring. You guys really took the time to make sure we got to have everything we wanted and needed, and we can't thank you guys enough. So. And now I would like to enter to the stage Ryan Barry and Kayla Holt.
My name is Kayla Holt,
And my name is Ryan Barry.
and we are here to introduce someone who is very special to the class of 2021.
When we first came to the high school, we all had no idea what we were doing. Every hallway, classroom, and teacher we knew were new to us. Little did we know that we were not completely alone in this feeling.
This teacher began their journey at Old Saybrook High School at the same time that we did. And just like us, he learned to adapt quickly to his new environment.
He was the person that every freshman could go to when they needed anything, from help with an assignment to advice on a problem. No matter what, he was always willing to help.
He has been with us from the start and has been our class advocate in every aspect. The support he has provided us in the past 4 years is something that we will forever be grateful for.
Without him, the class of 2021 would not be the same class that we are today, and for that, we would like to say thank you.
We hope that current and future students will be able to rely on his understanding and hopeful personality when they have problems or questions in any capacity of the high school experience.
Personally, this teacher has helped me stay focused and motivated throughout all 4 years of high school, even when I was not his student. And I know I'm speaking for everyone when I say without this person, the great experience we have wouldn't be nearly as great as it was.
It is our honor and privilege to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Shane Munoz.
Hola a todos y bienvenidos a la graduación de la clase de 2000.
Yes. This one's supposed to be in English.
Oh, in English. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody. Wrong channel. Let's try this. How about Eminem? Look, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you've ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? No, wrong channel again. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for that lovely introduction, Kayla and Ryan, for giving me the honor to speak at such a monumental occasion. I am very pleased to be celebrating with you, and I would like to by saying congratulations to you all. You should be very proud of yourselves for accomplishing such a tremendous milestone. I would like to give a special thanks to Ms. Jan Peruccio and the Board of Education for their support of the students and staff during such an unprecedented time in this world. I would also like to thank the high school administration for the support, encouragement, and guidance and availability throughout the year. To all the teachers in the district, thank you for guiding the students. and the path of education to the stage today. To all the teachers in the district, especially to those high school who guided students along the path of education to this. Wow. Sorry. See, I'm nervous too. Even though I'm a teacher, I get nervous as well. All right. For the support. That's what I'm trying to say. For the support for another successful completion. Thank you to all the secretaries and custodial staff. Without you, none of this would be possible. And let's be honest, half the teachers would lose their minds if it wasn't for you guys. Or that just might be me. And I would be remiss if I did not thank my partner in crime, Miss Corinne Torrey, or as a graduating class likes to call her, Mom, or Tory Torture, for being an amazing individual to work with the past 4 years. Thank you. And to the families. It would not be possible without you. Parents, thank you for raising such amazing children who make my job worthwhile and give me purpose to continue educating. To those families of the graduating class here in person and in spirit, congratulations to you. You should be proud and know that your support through this process has made an enormous impact. Graduating class. I know you're all excited to get out of here and embark on your new journey, but as Thomas Jefferson once said, if you want something you never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. I'm here to share with you what I believe are the 5 keys to success for your future so that you can seize everything you've ever wanted and capture it. Number 1, determinación, determination, is defined as a positive emotional feeling that involves persevering toward a difficult goal in spite of obstacles. In this unprecedented time, the class of 2021 is a true definition of determination. To persevere through distance learning and then adapt to the changes of in-person learning, you have all shown me as an educator how when things seem impossible, impossible is truly nothing. I implore you to keep the determination that you have gained this past year throughout your future because it will bring you to new heights in your life and show you that if you truly stay determined, you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. To continue, I believe the next key of success is habilidades, skill. To most people, the word skill is synonymous with intelligence. Although intelligence can help individuals attain a certain skill, skill is truly defined as the ability to use one's knowledge effectively and readily in execution or performance. Now, all these big words just simply mean to me that in order to gain a skill, you need to be aware of what you know and what you do not know. This means offer help to those who may not have the same skill as you, and in the same respect, do not be afraid to ask others for help. It is in these give and takes relationships that you form a greater intelligence and become successful. In my experience, if I was unsure of something and expressed my vulnerability, I have always come across people willing to jump right in and help. It is this vulnerability that will help you gain skills you never knew you could have and go places that you always dreamed of. This reminds me of one of my favorite sayings, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. The third key to your future success is pasión, passion. Passion is a word that people often use without really understanding the original meaning. The definition of passion is a strong and powerful emotion. While I do believe that you have to have powerful emotions about things you love, sometimes you also need to have those same emotions about things you don't want in life. When I'm speaking about passion, I think of it as what are you willing to do to feel that powerful emotion? What lengths are you willing to go so that you can say that in your future, I love my life. I love what I am doing. Are you willing to be vulnerable? Are you willing to take chances? Are you willing to accept defeat? Are you willing to push past hard times and work toward what will make you truly happy? This is an internal dialogue that you should have with yourself from time to time and make sure you are on a path that is worth living and living well. As Plato once said, the life which is not examined is not worth living. Remember, feelings can sometimes be uncomfortable, but it is our ability to feel that makes us human. Ser disciplinado. To have discipline is yet another key to success. When I am speaking about discipline, I am talking in terms of making yourself structured enough so that you are able to succeed. Discipline is defined as controlled gain by enforcing order. By control, I specifically am speaking of self-control. Looking into yourself to find the why. Why do I want it? How bad do I want it? What will you do to get it? It is these questions similar to these that cause us to self-reflect and gain the true understanding of ourselves. That is definitely a skill that through the pandemic we have developed. We have all learned the importance of self-awareness and checking in with ourselves to acknowledge our feelings and realize when we need help. It is in this acknowledgement that we are able to develop discipline. If in our daily check-in we realize that we need to work on a certain aspect of our life, we do. We don't get too busy in our everyday ins and outs that we forget to acknowledge the here and the now, and that helps us develop our will to succeed and our discipline. I once heard a saying that could not be more true about life, and it states, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. The last key to success, a cornerstone, is being grateful. Ser agradecido. How many of you remember your parents or teachers from an early age reminding you to use your manners? How many times did you hear, say please and thank you? Although you may have rolled your eyes, and still do, and thought that the constant reminder wasn't necessary, it is that little reminder that instilled a true sense of being grateful and being humble. It is that reminder that we are grateful for all we have and wouldn't be here today without it. It is important to be grateful for those who have been there along the way. The one who put band-aids on your scraped knees, the ones who taught you how to read and write, the ones who taught you key lessons for the life you lead today. We can be grateful for many individuals in our life because our life has been formed through a foundation instilled by everyone who has made an impact on it. We can also be grateful for ourselves. Be grateful for the hard work and effort you put into things. Grateful for everything, or grateful for the things you have and the things you don't, because it gives us something to try and gain in the future. In being grateful, it is important to be humble. What do I mean by being humble? I mean to be aware of what you know and don't, and when to ask for help. It is in those times that I implore you to go to people who you look towards and are grateful for. This could be your parents, grandparents, teachers, friends, or anyone you feel that could help you find the answer you are looking for. These people helped build you up and are part of the reason you are here today. As the saying goes, the first step in being great is being grateful. I have to speak for myself when I say that I am a very grateful individual. I am grateful for all of you today, who I can get to share my passion of teaching with on a daily basis. I am grateful for your parents who have raised such great children. I am grateful for the administration and fellow educators who share with me their experiences so I can constantly better myself. I am grateful for my family who keeps me grounded. I hope that you are keeping a list of people who you are grateful for, who have helped you become who you are. It truly takes a village to raise a child, and now you are growing out of that child phase and into young adulthood, embarking on your next phase of life. Reflect on who your village is and remember to say gracias. I want to leave you with one final message that I hope inspires you in your future to achieving everything you ever wanted and more. Let's go back to that Eminem channel. You better lose yourself in the music. The moment you own it, you better never let it go. You only get one shot. Don't miss your chance. This opportunity only comes once in a lifetime. Thank you all again and congratulations to the class of 2021. You did it. Well done. Felicidades. I would now like to call up Superintendent Ms. Jan Peruccio.
Good evening, everybody. Class of 2021, I wrote a title for my speech tonight. I don't typically do that, but I wrote it for myself, and it's a question. And the question is, a divided world? We arrive at this beautiful June day, your graduation day, with a sense of accomplishment which you deserve to feel, excitement which is perfect for the occasion, and exhaustion, especially since you had prom last night, and because we've all carried our own stress about getting up and over the hill known as COVID, and the impact it had on us, our school days, our friendships, our families, our community, our country, and the world. It's been a fast-paced and ever-changing wild ride for those who had to make decisions, and it took so much cooperation from all of you who had to and still have to wear masks, socially distance, forego lots of in-person activities for so many months. But our schools were open, we could play sports with mitigation in place, and slowly our social circles are getting bigger. So we have lots to celebrate on your day. 13 years ago, you started school. It was 2008. There was a Great Recession going on. That's what it was called, a Great Recession. The housing market crashed and took free cash flow with it. What was life like for the average person back then? Life was A, easier, B, better, C, less stressful, D, all of the above, or E, none of the above. It's common human behavior to look backward and be nostalgic and remember the past as being better than today. For you, a kindergartner, students of the incoming class in 2008, I hope life was easy and happy and full of joy. But for the average person, it was at times harder, worse, more stressful, or better, and it was all of the above at various times. Life, as we have been reminded in the last 15 months, is a roller coaster ride. It's a roller coaster ride you're on for the first time. So you don't know where the twists and turns are. You don't know where you go into darkness or light. You don't know when you're going to go up or down. It just comes at you. But you are on the ride, and you are equipped with your intelligence, energy, ability, compassion, perseverance, which will allow you to handle the unexpected, which, by the way, is a skill that gets more developed with experience, and you've certainly had some experiences lately. Every challenge is a chance to hone your skills. Everything in life is an opportunity. We're emerging from, though we are not done with, as numbers in other countries demonstrate, a global pandemic. Everybody suffered a little, some people suffered more, and still others, who represent the statistics we read about, suffered the most, and their loved ones suffered loss and heartbreak. And I do not want to minimize those losses by what I'm about to say next. But what I need to say to you is a message of hope and a message of optimism, which I hope you will remember as we come into this event and out of your years in our schools. We're getting through the pandemic, and we were not always certain how we would do that. That's usually how these things start. At a global level, scientists, medical staff, and policymakers work together to gather data, research solutions, and make decisions that eventually improve the human condition. Nothing was perfect, but I am so grateful that brilliant and dedicated people were there to move us forward. They worked in teams, made sacrifices, shared information, and did it for the greater good of the world. Talk about 21st century skills. Both my parents are still alive and are in their 90s. I'm very fortunate. They talk about the experience of living through World War II. They remember hardship, but they talk more about how communities worked together to support each other when young people went off to war and when everything from food to clothes and tires were rationed to support the war effort. They pulled blackout curtains down over windows at night because they lived in fear that the enemies would attack our shores. My point is, everyone alive at that time faced hardship and loss, but they did it together as a community and as a nation. So, can we still do that today? Yes. The answer is absolutely yes. We've been doing something very similar over the last year. It's heroic if you think about it. What we as a community did at a local level is unprecedented in my lifetime of experience. The community of Old Saybrook attacked a problem from so many fronts. Emergency management is something that we are used to activating for emergencies that are short-lived, like a hurricane or a snowstorm. There's a direct and immediate threat to the community from a natural or human-made situation. But for a year and a half, Old Saybrook, along with the state and the nation, was in emergency response mode. And during that time, life resumed some semblance of normality, but emergency mode went on. And here's how your community responded. A testing clinic was opened up at Saybrook Point. Old Saybrook citizens had close access to tests when vaccines weren't an option. How fortunate were we? Then soon after, a vaccine clinic opened up at the parking lot at the middle school. Drive-through vaccines were administered, over 25,000 of them. How fortunate were we? Schools in Old Saybrook were open, and I want to say, take a bow, my fellow administrators, teachers, para-educators, custodians, food service workers, secretaries, IT staff. You came back at the beginning when so much was still closed down, and we weren't even 100% certain how we were going to catch this illness or keep ourselves safe from it. Parents sent their children their most precious concerns back to school, a leap of faith, which we thank you for. The selectmen and volunteers ran very successful fundraising campaigns to support local businesses, families, and individuals. Youth and Family Services switched to telehealth and continued to provide mental health services. Chamber of Commerce ran campaigns to help keep businesses open. Volunteer boards and commissions continued to get the business of the town done. And our students came to school, wore masks, socially distanced, missed out a lot, and kept going. Everybody hung together. There was absolutely no other way to do this. Everybody took precautions, missed seeing family and friends on holidays, canceled travel plans, or took other steps to protect the community. I hope you are all, students, parents, staff, police, everyone in this community, I hope you are all very proud of yourselves and of each other. Class of 2021, you're going to go out into a world that some would portray as deeply divided. We are defined as red or blue. We are defined by our gender, our race, our geography. We're East Coast or Midwestern, Northerners or Southerners. If you scroll through your news feed or watch the latest news, you'll see us portrayed by what divides us. Some who have a big presence in popular culture, politics, or social media vilify others who don't think the way they do. But the reality of our nation doesn't match that message. We have issues, as any group of people would have, real concerning differences of opinion. But the map of the United States is very purple, meaning most people do see others' perspectives, do see multiple sides of any issue, to the degree that their own experiences limit or enhance their ability to do that. And most people care about their own well-being and the well-being of their neighbors. They care about others in their community, the nation, and the world. And most importantly, what you will get everyone to agree on is that they care about the next generation and what we are handing off to you. So how can I be so positive about the state of the world you're going out into? First of all, I know all of you. I know how great you are. I know where you're going. And I have infinite faith that in my doddering old age, I will be well taken care of because you're out there. For the same reason, I want you all to be positive and optimistic about your future. We are witnesses to a perfect example of how this can work here in Old Saybrook. We don't need to think back to 2008 or 9/11 or World War II to find examples of how together we can be strong. We just watched the town of Old Saybrook collectively act in a way that was selfless, altruistic, and giving. Successful and supportive fundraising events shored up those who needed financial help. The police and regional health authority organized and staffed a vaccine clinic that saw thousands of Connecticut's residents through vaccinations. And you, students, all worked collectively with your families, peers, teachers, coaches, and so many others to survive, thrive, keep going, stick with it, and get up and over it. History changes, but human behavior does not. And when you bring out the best in each other, work collaboratively towards common good for all, and persevere, you can do anything. You've proven it in the last 15 months, and you have built up the muscles you need to keep doing that good work, to speak out for whatever needs to be addressed, and to overcome whatever comes your way. I believe in you. I believe you're going to do this. Congratulations to a very special group of students, class of 2021, onward. And now for the really important part. At this moment, the superintendent of schools gets to say that these diplomas mean something, and what they mean is you did it. You're graduating, you accomplished it all, 13 years of hard work, and brought you to this day. So, the important words I have to say are, by the power vested in me by the state of Connecticut and the Department of Education, I hereby certify the diplomas and announce you graduates of Old Saybrook High School. And how about a round of applause for them?
Good evening. We are honored to announce the graduates of 2021. Harrison Vance Norton. Right here.
Thank you. Congratulations. Good job, Harry. You gotta keep walking, buddy.
Owen Tolve. Eliza Jane Sherber. Zachary John Pandiani. Ryan Berry. Alice Pond. Jack Bransfield. Ivy Wen. Corey James Benny. Deborah Kaye. Helen Day. Anthony Glorioso. Giselle Castro Velez.
Shay J. Alsbeck. Gabriel Carr. Allison Sue Rose Strope. Matthew J. Julius. Aiden Thomas Collier. Seth Adams. Catherine Potter. Alexa Rose Broder. Nisha Chaplin. Avery Appia. Aiden Michael Roscoe. Devontae Mitchell. Zachary T. Cody.
Hannah Jane Sumby. Jordan Panett. Ryan Mikulski. Kate Elizabeth Hayden. Christina Michelle Elsante. Brian Edward Noyes. Gannon Effinger. Nathan Lacey Jr. Gerson Jara. Ryan Patrick Moonen. Carter Gibson.
Molly Catherine Henderson. Jeanette Echeverra. Dan F. Fox. Tracy Lee. Mary E. Sarzasti. Abigail Breitenbach. Abigail Bergeron. Emmy Ray Skiles. Jason Adante. Lexi Jewel Schaffman. Amelia Mariel. Tara Carlin.
Bridget Maeve Kowecki. Grace Laskowski. Luis Antonio Kaye Peralta. Kayla Holt. Brian N. Blakesley. Zane Bauer. Zachary Vogt. Jenna Tully. Isabel Lacey Junio.
Natalie Tryon. Michael J. Tomko. Peter Wada. Taylor Stone. Taylor Jean Deanna. Megan Elizabeth Cappy. Colton T. Frazier. Christina Rose Lombardi. Garrett D. Brady.
Giuseppe Sinibaldo. Wayne Lewis Martin III. Kyle Colella. Nathan Taylor. Sarah Majub. Jason Kaye Villavicencio. Camilla H. Martins Mora.
Mary Reed. Megan Hampton. Matthew Rothman. Priscilla Rose Gumkowski. Cameron Joseph Grillo. Emily Jade Wilson. Jack Wiley.
Benjamin Yost. Nadia Marie Zavoy. Caitlin Chaps. Isla Sekunjanen. William Peralta.
Kendall Comer. Emily Stratton. Anthony Vincent Baldino. Chloe Ellenis. Jacob A. Schneider.
Nicholas Glowski. Cindy Liu. Gianna Helene Barada. Douglas Prevost.
Allison M. Tryon. Carrington Gilligan Hart. Yeah. No? Kyle J. Wazalowski. Joseph C. Bradley.
I would now like to introduce two of the most amazing friends and people that I have ever met. I cannot think of anyone who is better suited to send us off. I would like to welcome Emily Stratton and Taylor Stone to the podium for closing remarks.
I know we have all sat through our fair share of speeches tonight, so we will try to keep this last one short. Before everything comes to a close, we would like to once again thank all of the people who have made this day possible for us over the past 4 years. Thank you to the Board of Education, our Superintendent, Ms. Peruccio, our Principal, Ms. Riffle, our Vice Principal, Mr. Anastasio, and all of the district faculty and staff. However, a special shout out to Mr. Munoz and Ms. Torrey, the 2021 class parents, for all of the extra time they have put in over the years as our advisors to make our high school experience as special as it was. Woo! We would also like to thank all of our real parents and other family members who have been with us through all the good and the bad moments that have led us to where we are today. I think we speak for everyone when we say how much we appreciate everything you have done for us.
In just a minute, we are all going to walk away from this stage and begin an entirely new chapter of our lives. For me, the start of anything is easily the most difficult and intimidating part. I think my English teachers can attest to this after watching me stare at a blank page, unable to decide how to start an essay, more times than I'd like to admit. In this situation, my fear of writing something wrong or not good enough held me back, and had I just trusted myself and put pen to paper, I would have made it much further. While this is a pretty minuscule example, I think we can all relate to the fear of starting something new. John Green once asked, "What is the point of being alive if you don't at least try to do something remarkable?" With his words in mind, we want to remind everyone that no matter what this next part of your life is, don't ever sit there staring at the blank page. Don't let the fear of failure hold you back. You must have courage, take risks, and never let yourself fall short of truly living.
This is an amazing class, and we know that everyone here can achieve something remarkable. So have some faith in yourself, and let's go out there and do it.
Congratulations to the class of 2021!